Okay, so I'm Mary Elizabeth, or Emmy for short. I'm the communications manager with Georgia Organics, and we've got Chris Wilkins here with Root Baking Co. And good friend of Georgia Organics, a farmer champion restaurant. Clearly very committed to farmers as part of his business. So thanks for joining us, Chris.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, awesome. So what we want to do is kind of talk a little bit. This is the Georgia Foodcast, the Atlanta Foodcast, I should specify, because you are Atlanta-based, based in Ponce City Market. So I don't know. We want to first just do a little intro to you, talk a little bit about Root and what you got going on.
Sure. Yeah. So we are Root Baking Company. My wife and I started in Charleston, South Carolina in 2015. And we were there for a couple of years, and then our mission there is the same as here. So what we did was we're really inspired by the kind of heirloom grain movement and the local grain movement that's been kind of all over California and New York, but it feels special in the South. And so we went to Charleston, and we found some great chefs and great farmers, and we decided that was going to be the place where we were going to kind of open our shop. So we did that, and then we got hooked in with the folks at Ponce, and we decided to move up here in 2017, 2018, something like that. I don't remember. Okay. It all kinds of blur. And then so we do the same kind of things that we did in Charleston up here, and then we kind of blew out the mission a little bit to include a cafe, and we started as a wholesaler of breads in Charleston. We would make breads for restaurants and farmers markets, and here we have a retail kind of component. We have a cafe component, like soup, sandwiches, salads, kind of thing, and we're about to open a pizzeria and bar. Outstanding timing. And so
Damn it.
yeah, not the best, but we're kind of doing construction right now on that through this. And so but same premise, right? So we're taking my wife and I are from upstate New York, so we grew up with, which no one can tell ever talking to me. Right. And so I grew up around pizzerias and stuff, so we're gonna do a slice shop in Ponce City Market. So
I can attest, it's freaking delicious.
Thanks,
slices,
man.
Multiple slices I have had.
Thank you.
And you can order from both Root and Pizza Gene's online, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So we're like, I think, part of our mission here is to, be there for our community through this whole thing. And the hardest thing to do is like to be there for your community without being next to or in your community in a way that makes people unsafe, for your staff unsafe. Yeah. So we're doing curbside for both breads and pastries, and Morningside Market. We're going there for you can buy a loaf of bread. We really encourage people to pre-order it online so you can just pick it up. But if it worst comes to worst, we'll take your money there, I guess. But we're really trying to get folks to use it as a pickup location. You can pick up at Ponce as well. So
cool.
So we're mask, gloves, the whole thing. We're just trying to.
Yeah.
It's a new world now, so we're just trying to find our place in it.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about that, like how, I feel like you were such a integral part of Ponce and such a comfortable place to be and to go in to eat, to, now soon, I guess, drink, soonish.
Soonish,
but
maybe
soonish, hopefully, yes.
Maybe
ASAP,
not.
please. ASAP, please.
Right.
I mean, yes, but no, maybe not too soon.
Right. No,
the dance.
Like, I'm not tomorrow or Monday.
Yeah. No.
Break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Talk a little bit about like some of the business changes you've made. I mean, online ordering and safety protocols. Like, what have y'all had to what challenges have you had to meet to kind of stay cranking out?
So, well, yeah, the challenges are numerous, of course, and they're not any better or worse than anyone else's, I think. And so, it's like we are lucky that we're we wholesale bread to like Whole Foods and stuff like that. And that, we count ourselves very lucky to get our bread into people's hands in a bunch of different ways. We're not a fine dining place. We see, we're lucky to be sort of a utility that way. Like people just need bread. They need, you don't need pastries, I guess, but people want pastries.
I disagree. You need pastries. One needs pastries.
Yeah, right. Need pastries, I guess. And so people kind of see us as utilities, so it's been, we've also, Nicole and I are around, it's not that hard to find us. It's not that hard to get a hold of us. And if you send us an email, it's likely one of us emailing you back. And so we've been lucky that our community members and people that we know and love have really invested in supporting us and making sure we can bring back our staff and who we love these people. These are the most important people in our professional lives, are our staff, of course. Right. And so, so adjustments we've made, it's just like, masks, gloves, mandatory hand washing every 30 minutes, which is funny. I mean, like in restaurants, everyone washes their hands in good restaurants anyway, I hope, all the time. Like it's like every 10 minutes you have to, especially in baking, when it's a very practical profession, like you're always washing your hands every because you have flour and it's everything
essential.
Right. So but we instituted that kind of stuff, and then even the construction guys working in our space like have to wear masks. We're pretty insistent on that. And so like basically everything that we do, we're trying to just make people safe, because like no one wants, like the last thing a restaurant wants to be is like a disease vector, and like we're not trying to, like, no restaurant wants to make anyone sick. Like that's the last thing we want. So we want people to enjoy it and to have fun and to want to come back. And so
I'm curious, what do you see most people purchasing from you right now? I mean bread, but I guess like types of bread or any meals that are comfort food. I mean, what are the folks wanting?
It's interesting. We used to sell a lot of baguettes, and now we don't sell as many baguettes as we used to. And so we can see these, like Whole Foods does this thing where it's like, they'll tell you what they sold, and now it's like, it used to be like we mostly sold baguettes because people feel fancy or something, or it's the bread that people know, whatever they do. And so nowadays though, people really want loaf, like sourdough loaves, and so, which is incredible. I mean, people are like really into sourdough now, of course, which is I think it's fantastic. And so maybe it gives people, every time we get an email like your stuff's too expensive or something, they'll be like, oh yeah, I tried doing sourdough, see why.
Exactly.
And so people really want sourdough bread because I think they can get more sandwiches out of it. They get a little more shelf life out of it. And so we're selling a lot more of those. Obviously we sell pizza, but pizza's pizza. It's never really changed. And I mean, it's funny, like the stuff that we've sold, the stuff that we've always sold, we still sell. And like I said, like when this happened, we didn't have to do much with pivot per se, because like we don't, we're not a fancy restaurant, we're just a bakery, cafe, pizzeria thing. And so like no one's ever thought of us as like a place where you go and drop $300. It's you go there a couple times a week. How we've always tried.
It's more consistent habit buying type. That's cool. That's good. Well, one main thing that I want to talk to you about is this amazing Food Fight Georgia program that has come about. And I know from our end, logistically, and partnering with kind of seed funding from the Jamestown Charitable Foundation, we're getting these amazing farm boxes to restaurant workers. So talk a little bit about like your involvement in that and what you're seeing from this program. It's foodfightga.com is the website that's launched. So we're, as of today, as we're speaking, not quite sure when this will air, but this program is launched, but it's in its kind of third pilot week, I think. So
it launched as a pilot.
Yeah.
So the way it started was that we wanted to give away pizza to food service work. I mean, it's been written 100 times, but like there was like a certain trauma in the fact that like the entire industry went down in
like
a week.
Overnight.
And like it happened so quickly that it's like there was a certain amount of just like head spinning that happened, and so like
for sure.
And so we wanted to give pizza away to like food workers, and it became clear that Ponce is basically has the same considerations like a stadium would, and so they had to close the whole building, and so couldn't do that, and so we kind of were meditating on it, and we it seemed clear to us that the best intervention that we could make is like we have these like kind of dual concerns, and one is like feeding people who need it, right? People who need feeding, and the other is the circuits of local agriculture need to be kept alive,
right?
Because a lot of farms have kind of pivoted to more of a retail situation, but like if you're a restaurant if you're a farm that's growing for a Staple House or a Miller Union or a Root, we're not buying that much right now,
right.
And so or we're not buying as much as we could to keep you alive, and so those are kind of dual considerations that need to be addressed. And so we thought the best seemed to us the best course of action would be like the kind of the simplest intervention, which would be buy vegetables, and so to find those to make those farmers whole and to figure out what to do with that food. You'd feed restaurant workers with it, because no one knows how to cook better than people that work in restaurants, I would think. Right. And so we kind of took it to Jamestown, and the whole thing kind of came through conversations with Steven Soderfield and Ryan Smith and Ann Quatrano and the people that are part of the pilot, and Terry Cole and Bruce Lowe. And so this kind of started to take shape and went to Jamestown, and they were excited about it. And I got to give it to them. Like they've been very generous and very forward thinking about their role as stewards, for Atlanta's food community. And so, I'll and so then we went to Georgia Organics, you guys, and you folks are great as well. And you guys have the most expertise on how to get the logistics to match up. Yeah. And so we started as a pilot. We're starting as a pilot. We run the pilot now for 3 weeks. And so, it's fed quite a few restaurant workers. They're getting really beautiful things. Like they're getting really beautiful produce, beautiful, we bake a loaf of bread, and King Arthur has also been a part of this. Like King Arthur's picking up the bill for the bread, which is
that's awesome. Yeah,
it's incredible, right? And this is what this kind of thing. This is the best version of this kind of thing. Is like you can get great producers' wares and still do some good. And so, I guess we're now in our third pilot, and we'll have a couple more weeks of this, and then we're hoping to expand to other restaurants. And so, a lot of restaurant workers that need food, and there's a lot more logistics to iron out. But I think that we have the beginning of a great little program.
Absolutely. I know from our end, I've been seeing, the folks getting their farm boxes and then tagging us on social media and tagging all the farms. And it's such an incredible thing to witness, because it really is, there's like 2 layers of benefit, because for every box that's going, there are farmers getting that sorely needed revenue coming back to them. So
cash.
Yeah.
And also, there is this, in fine dining, there is a strange phenomena whereby the people that work at the restaurant eat less of the stuff that they serve, right? And so this could be in many instances the most local produce that these kids, and a lot of them are kids, have gotten, right? Because you're getting these local eggs. Are they buying local eggs? Sometimes yes, of course, but you're getting it every week now, and so you're able to engage with the growers that you sell to your the folks that come to the restaurant. And so like it also, and frankly, it also keeps restaurants kind of together, you know, and that's the other worry is like we, you know, people go, we had to lay off, like everybody else had to lay off most of our staff, and we get to see these people and check in with them, make sure they don't need anything, make sure they're okay, make sure if they need anything, we're there for them. And so like, it's mostly keeping us, you know, within touching distance, 6 feet, of course, but within when speaking distance of these people who we care about and who we want to keep in our lives. And so it's enabled us to have them keep them close without
like morale sustaining.
Right.
Because it's pretty cool from our end, the you know, we're talking right now about the messaging and how do we get the word out about this, how do we raise more funds so that we can keep this going. And I mean, it's pretty cool that the word that keeps coming up the most, whether we're talking about the like restaurant pickup side of things or the farm delivery logistics side of things, is like family. Like this just feels like what you have to do to keep, you know, like not related by blood, but like family together. Kin. That's another great word for it too. And that's been pretty cool.
Right. You're right. I agree. And that's making sure people are fed and making sure they're fed well, and also making the folks that grow it whole is basically what we're trying to do. And so, I mean, the people that are involved in this are just some of the smartest people I've ever come across, right? When it comes to anything, but especially local agriculture on y'all's end, or just, I mean, what Andy Critrano knows more about Atlanta's food scene than I will ever know. And so like, as does Steven Soderfield and Ryan Smith and Bruce Logue and Terry Koval. And so like, these are just really, these people who know a lot and who are able to give great feedback in the pilot stage. And as we expand this out to include anybody that wants in, so they can reap the benefits of good local produce as well. It makes these people have been paramount in building this thing, you know, in a way that's sustainable.
It's pretty incredible too. The kind of the superpowers here we've got our Atlanta like local food superheroes.
They're incredible,
you know,
aren't they?
Leading this off. I mean, it's like between just like the you know, folks like you that like part of our Farmer Champion campaign and the Farm to Restaurant program, and then just like again these like, I mean, Ann Quintano and, you know, the big guns. We got the big guns for this.
But they're also they're you know, they think of themselves as stewards of Atlanta's food community too, right? And so like, I think because they see that as responsibility, and they're also in a place where their staffs are large, and because the restaurant's a little larger, so they're able to think about these like kind of big things. And so as we expand this out, we'll have a real nice polished systems that these folks that help us pilot. And also these growers are Lauren on y'all's end. Lauren is just like, she can talk to farmers, she can talk to chefs, and that's exactly what we need, right? And so like, we're trying to feed food people and we're trying to make farms whole. And so it's been a great program so far.
That's Lauren Cox on our farmer services team, and she's who heads up the Farm to Restaurant program. She's one of the most like just like very agile logistics person. I mean, again, like former farmer herself, and also understands the restaurant side of everything. So it's been pretty cool to watch her and the rest of the team at work. We've also got Ashley Dowling on our events team, just killing it, making these things happen. Great. So it's been just overall impactful. I think it's going to be cool to keep watching kind of how this program grows. You know, obviously every week is different in quarantine land, so who knows like what's happening next. I think you know, I think where we stand right now, this was Tuesday night got the announcement from Kemp about certain businesses opening back up. But I don't know about you, I've seen anyone that I've seen posting from a restaurant or business side of things is like nah, no, we're not doing that yet.
Well, so. You know, I've said this to other people, but it's put us in a very difficult position. So now, like, I'm a baker. I'm not I have a pizzeria and a bakery. Like, I'm not I did not go to medical school. I didn't, and so like
Right.
it is now put restaurateurs or chefs, business owners in positions they shouldn't be in.
Right.
It's made us responsible for public health
Yeah.
while forsaking our rent or the ability to pay these things. If you didn't get a PPP loan, if you didn't get an EIDL loan, if like any of the many things available to you, then like you're just like, well, do I have to like the money that I can get from being open on a Friday on a Friday or tomorrow, I guess is when it starts, the 20, 20 whatever, or I can care about my community safety and the safety of your staff, because like it's just no,
it's a pretty it's a rock and a hard place for sure.
It's terrible.
But it's also an easy answer. I mean,
you can't open. I'm sorry, you can't. Right. It's you just can't. And so it's just not. I understand that restaurants are in a difficult position. Like we are all I mean, not just restaurants. I mean, there's tons of people that are in a very difficult position and forced to make difficult choices. I am sad that we have to make these choices. It shouldn't. Right. That's why we elect public officials, so they can take
I know
things.
This is what y'all are supposed to
do. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't have to make a bad decision that it may affect my community, which I don't want to do.
Right. Yeah. Well, kind of on that note, what are some learnings or advice that you'd want to share with like other good food business owners about like how to, I don't know, what to keep in mind right now or things to do that have helped you?
Yeah, I find I find that weirdly enough, like my wife said this the other day, like the importance of grace has been very, very instructive, because like everything is terrible right now, and feels terrible right now. Everything feels just like a beating. And so like, that even though you're stressed out, even though we are incredibly, like every owner, every whatever is stressed out, like you have people that work for you are just even more stressed out. and it is sometimes hard to center yourself in those kind of relationships. And so like trying to think about what our communities are going through is probably the best thing we can do, because it helps us serve them better in terms of what they want, like from a food point of view, which helps us stay in business. So really engaging in conversations with what your community needs, like and then also like when things go poorly or they don't go the way you want, like instead of just melting down, which you want to, because everything's terrible, just kind of stepping back and saying, okay, I understand that like this is the worst, but like there has to be a way through this. That's not going to be fun, but we'll figure it out. And so I think that like that has been, and of course my wife's idea, because she's much smarter than I am, and so she's kind of inspired me a lot that way, as to how we purport ourselves in front of our staff and to our community is a direct reflection on how we're going to do, right? Because this is a crisis of confidence as much as a crisis of actual sickness. And so we'll
beautifully said. I mean,
do our best to get through it, but also to help everyone else get through it too.
Yeah, it certainly is about the frame of mind that you're approaching these struggles with. And I think saying that, approaching these situations with grace and, understanding and empathy and I think just overall asking, how can I help, seems to be, it's what I've noticed. And it's what's always made me proud about working within the food and restaurant and farming world, is like, everyone wants to help. And it's, again, family. It's a sense of community. It's a sense of like, we are providers, and now is when we provide.
So, I mean, food people have been doing this their entire career. They always think about how everyone else feels. And so I think we're asking our community to care about us, and they are, and the reality of it is that this is not fun, and it's going to be not fun for a while. And so all we can do is help smooth the path, I guess, for our fellow food people and the folks that we don't think about, because this is a large industry, and there are secondary and tertiary industries built on our industry. You know, there's not just us, there's also people that sell alcohol to us, and then the drivers that deliver the alcohol to us, and there's the people that deliver the vegetables and meat and everything else. And so like every one of those industries has been affected the same way, including the people that make, you know, restaurant equipment, service restaurant equipment. All these people are just like in a real tough place right now, and they're not on podcasts like this, right? Which is, and so the best thing we can do, the best thing we can do is kind of keep them in mind and figure out ways to, you know,
absolutely. It's a great point. It's always those folks are always certainly the unsung heroes of any time we've gotten to go out and have a great meal or pick up some good food or whatever. And
hopefully this helps us see these systems for what they are, which is like which is be interconnected and reliant. And so like that, my greatest hope from this whole thing is honestly that food becomes food and restaurants and everything else become a little less glorified for you know, the sexiness of the industry, and more glorified for what they do, which is nourish people. And so that's if there's a silver lining to all this, is that, you know, people that maybe have taken restaurants for granted as a utility or commodity maybe start to think of them for what they are, which is like laborers of a group to execute a vision of a group of people, you know. And so like that's my hope anyway.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, that was wonderful. That was a very moving take on kind of everything going on, and certainly some really important, thought-provoking things to be resting on. And thank you so much. And before we kind of wrap up, how can folks get a hold of you? What's the best way? Website, social, stuff like that?
Yeah, website's the best way. I guess we're on Instagram or something like that. Something like that. Then call the bakery. I don't know. It's just like we have. You'd be surprised. Like we're a little bit old fashioned that way. Like, just I don't know. Like
I love it.
People just call. It's like, do you have this? It's like, yeah, sure, man, we got it.
It's about like taking it old school, you know. Like,
yeah, man. You know, listen, if you call for bread, we'll figure it out. You know, we'll get it squared away. So it's. You know, best way for people to get hold of, so we can order online is a website. And that's honestly that we're really encouraging that, because it's the safest way to do it. It's the way that helps us the most. And so like we're not going to open our doors for dine-in until we know that to be safe. And so like the best way to support us right now is on the internet.
And what's y'all's website?
www.rootbaking.com.
Cool.
Easy.
Rootbaking.com. And I think you're Root Baking Co. on Instagram, maybe. Is that right?
I do not know. Probably, yeah.
We'll post that. We'll post that in the show notes. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Code word, like, oh crap, let me figure that out later.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never known, I think, but yeah.
You just stay by the phone. You stay clocking those online.
I'm great on the phone. Yeah, great on the phone. That's gonna be on my headstone, I think. Great on the phone.
Cool. He was known for, Well, thank you so much. Again, really appreciate your time, and hopefully this will, again, help spread the word about Food Fight Georgia, so we can kind of raise some more funds there, and then everyone just buy delicious sourdough bread. You can't make it at home. Like, don't stop. Trust the professionals. Get off Pinterest. Get into the Ponce City Market parking lot.
It's probably good life advice for everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's just
Get off Pinterest.
It's not good life. That's fair.
No.
That's fair. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. Again, really appreciate it. And rootbaking.com, and we'll talk to y'all soon.